Life is meaningless. You probably clicked on this video expecting me to challenge that idea, to tell you why it's wrong, to offer some comforting philosophy or some motivational one-liner about purpose. But I'm not going to do that. I can't. Because, as far as I can tell, the truth is much more uncomfortable. This thing we call life, the circus show, the endless grind, the existential theater, doesn't come with built-in meaning. It never has, and it likely never will. And yeah, you could call me a pessimist for saying that. You wouldn't be wrong, but that doesn't make it any less true. Let's start with the basics. You, a human being, were dead for eternity before you were born. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, you gain a body and a flickering moment of consciousness. A few decades if you are lucky. Then you will return to that same non-existence you came from. Where in that story is the so-called meaning? Philosophers, sages, religions, they have all tried to answer that question. Thousands of years, countless books, sermons, meditations, still no definitive answer. And let's be honest, if there was a universal objective meaning to life, wouldn't we have found it by now? So here is my advice, and maybe the only useful thing I have to offer. Stop looking for meaning out there, because out there in the world, in other people, in material things, there is nothing. Not in the way you are hoping for. Meaning isn't something waiting to be discovered. It's something we assign, something we invent so we can cope with the absurdity of being alive in a world that's never asked for us in the first place. For me, life has always felt overwhelming. I think a lot of that comes from how my brain is wired, the anxiety, the noise, the overthinking. Add to that the neglect and trauma I experienced in childhood, and you have got a perfect storm. Nothing ever felt quite right. The world always seemed slightly off, like I'd been dropped into a place that was fundamentally broken, like something was missing, or maybe I was the one who was missing something. And maybe you feel that way too, or maybe you are one of the lucky ones, someone who finds joy in small things, who never falls into these dark existential holes. If so, I envy you. I genuinely do. But for the rest of us, this isn't just some intellectual dilemma. It's something we feel. A weight, a tension, a constant hum of unease. Maybe this video is just me ranting like a grumpy old man. Maybe that's necessary. Because sometimes when the world doesn't make sense, ranting is the only thing that does. But here is what I want to flip things around. Not with false hope, but with a different kind of truth. Let's ask the question straight. What is meaning? Not the cosmic philosophical kind, not the kind that answers the big questions. I mean meaning on a personal, individual level. Meaning is the feeling that your life isn't just random chaos. It's the sense that things are connected, that your pain has purpose, that your actions matters, even in a small way. Meaning isn't a thing you find, it's something you feel. It's the quiet voice that says, this matters to me. That could be a relationship, a project, a pet, a walk in nature, a conversation that made you cry. Meaning is what stops you from drifting, from dissolving into numbness. It gives your story a shape, even if it's just for today. The truth that life is meaningless isn't a curse. It's a strange kind of freedom, because once you stop expecting life to hand you a purpose, you are free to create your own. You are not chasing some cosmic validation. You are not performing for a god or a universe or a legacy. You are just being here, now. You get to decide what matters. And in a world where nothing has to matter, That's a power move. So no, I won't argue against the idea that life is meaningless, because it probably is. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is how hard it's to accept that and keep living anyway. But if you can do that, if you can live without needing a grand reason, then you are stronger than you think. And maybe, just maybe, that's the meaning you were looking for all along.